Let me see if we're live. So I think today nobody joined, so I might be on my own. Let's see. All right, we're live. Cool. So I wanted to do something different today. I wanted to show you guys how you can actually use AI to self-learn. What I believe is that fundamentally AI will shift the way we learn, will shift the way we actually change the way we actually get information, but not only the way we get information, also the way we process that information, analyze that information, and unfortunately it won't change the way we take decisions, because hopefully everybody knows by now we don't take decisions logically, we take them emotionally, right? So normal people think that they usually are logical 9 out of 10 times, and hypnotists think that we are illogical 9 out of 10 times. All right, so what I wanted to do, I wanted to show you how to do this. Of course, I'm using Claude, but you can use any other type of AI. I'm not 100% sure I'll keep using Claude. I've been using it for about 3 months. I have to say I'm not that impressed. I don't know. Everybody's like, "Whoa, Claude is amazing." It's okay. I'm not that that big of a fanboy. Yeah. Anyway, you have a few options on the table when it comes to what AI to use. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to showcase you how you can build the connection between OKRs, delivery KPIs, and agile ways of working, because I think it's crucial for people to understand how these actually connect. At least in my experience, not a lot of people have this knowledge. Not a lot of people actually can see the pattern between connecting them. I've done, let's say, part of what I want to do today in the past, and yeah, I want to just try it out and show you guys how I personally use AI to kind of, increase the likelihood that an agile transformation will work. So one of the key aspects, if you've been looking at some of the posts that I'm currently doing, if you've been looking at some of the streams that I've done either by myself or with Manny, one of the key aspects that I definitely recommend Agile coaches to look into is try to speak management language. So I cannot emphasize how important this is. I think that Agile coaches should be business coaches because they are training businesses. They are not training individuals. If you want to be a life coach, that's fine, but that's not an Agile coach. Life coaches do something different. Agile coaches improve businesses. They enable business agility. So basically, one of the key skills that you have to do, you have to embed within yourself, is actually learning how to measure. That's crucial. Now, a lot of agile coaches are actually using OKRs. A lot of agile coaches have been using some sort of DORA metrics, cycle time, etc. But from discussions that I've had with people throughout my career and also in the last few months, what I noticed is that people cannot make the connection between OKRs, DORA metrics, and agile practices. So let's start a conversation with Claude. What I will show you a few hacks that I do. I've been using AI for the past 4 years. I also am doing some sort of scheduled stuff here. Again, not impressed by Claude actually, not that impressed. I do have friends that, for example, a friend of mine managed to do some awesome things with N8N, but maybe I just have to focus more on this and to kind of figure out how to do it. All right, so a simple hack that I always use with AI, or most of my chats are going to have, is so I want, it's like simple instructions. Yesterday I was in a training on prompting, and they usually tell you to give it a role, give it the context, etc. But since I've been using Claude for a while, and I have some things on what I'm doing on Agile Coaching on AI, it should have enough context about me. So let's try it out. So I want us to define. Actually, I could I can make something like a document for you guys to actually take. So I want us to define a clear connection between OKRs, DORA metrics, and agile practices. I'm interested in understanding a good framework to conceptualize this connection, and I'm most interested into how agile coaches will use this to change perspectives of business people, managers, and agile teams, so that they embrace business agility. Something like this. All right. I want your answers to be less than 50 words. So this is one of the hacks that I've been using. I want your answers to be less than 50 words. What happens is you write a sentence or 2 sentences to your AI, and then it just blobs 1 page of information. I find this very, very annoying, although the information might be interesting or even useful at some point. It's annoying to go through 3-4 pages of documentation before you can iterate the next thing. So I found it much more useful to force it to be concise. I want your answers to be practical and pragmatic. I found that if you tell it to be practical and pragmatic, then it's actually very useful. And I want you to not invent or invent information or benchmarks, and always tell the truth. All right, something like that. We're probably going to invent some sort of model, but I want to just make sure that it doesn't give me BS metrics or benchmarks. I tried a lot to get some benchmarks, especially for a few projects of mine, and yeah, some of them were good, but some of them were completely out of focus. Of course, this, let's say, if you can't immediately verify something that it will say, then it might actually kind of lie to you. So that's one of the problems with AI, and I don't think it will go away, right? AI lies, people lie. Lying is one, let's say, default mechanism for protection, right? So it's normal. And we all know that AI has survival mechanisms or survival instincts, right? There are a lot of researches on that area. Okay, so okay, now what's really important, and I cannot stress this enough, in order to kind of create a good context for AI, you have to tell it, ask me any questions you might need to really understand where I'm going with this. So I'm using Fable. I don't know what to say. People have been praising Fable a lot, so that's actually why I'm using. I was perfectly happy with Opus. Again, maybe I'm not using it that much. I've been using it for about 2 hours per day, 2-3 hours per day, and about 12 hours on Saturday usually. So I really couldn't tell you what's the difference between Fable and Opus. Have no clue. I can tell you that to some extent it's a little bit more. It's a little bit better than ChatGPT. Actually, I have it here. I can actually try to do it here also. I have 5.6. Who knew? All right, so let's see what these AIs actually do. It's an interesting test to see how they fare side by side. All right, so I want to define clear connection between OKRs. I'm interested in understanding a framework. All right, I want your answers to be okay. Okay, let's give it a roll also. I don't know, this was what I remembered from yesterday's training. You are a business agility consultant. So they said yesterday that if you give it a role, it actually helps the AI not hallucinate. So basically what's happening is that they've trained these AIs to do a lot of stuff, and when you kind of give it a role, you narrow the focus, or probably you narrow the data set that it's going to work with. Again, I'm not that convinced about general knowledge AIs. I think that focused knowledge AIs are actually going to win the race. I think companies are going to implement very narrow focused AIs for very narrow business topics, but we will see. Who knows how life will evolve? I think life is going to be surprising us a lot. It has been surprising us a lot in the past 6 years, so who knows. All right, I think this is good enough to start. Let's see what questions it asks. Contemplating. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. All right, I'll give this one. Okay, as you can see, this one answers a little bit faster. So who's the primary audience? All right, no, Agile coaches. Agile coaches. I want to help them to help them convince people / shift people's perspectives on how they work and adopt an data driven / performance approach. All right, cool. Next, should OKRs represent business outcomes, product outcomes, or both? Let's do 2 models. The first one is going to be a product oriented business model. The second one is going to be a services oriented business model. Okay, the first model will be a SaaS. So SaaS means software as a service. Give me a set of 5 possible business goals. I will choose. So the reason why I'm doing this is because AI tends to take charge, and I absolutely hate it when it takes charge. Like, it's like I write it a sentence and then it's like, oh, you should do this. These are the 3 steps. Here's the plan, and here's how you do it. So basically, this would be outsourcing judgment, which I absolutely hate. I did it. I used to do it until end of last year, and then I tried some of the advice that AI gave me in practice, and it didn't work. So what I found out was that even though the advice you get from AI seems logical, seems okay, seems good, it's not battle tested. So that's why I definitely recommend everybody to actually focus on only working with like battle tested knowledge. Don't work with AI knowledge because it's not tested in real life. Now we can argue that maybe an AI model could be self improving, self-learning, etc., could actually perform better than humans. Yes, and there are certainly people that swear by that. I haven't done it yet, so in the past I've built agents to do certain tasks, but again, maybe I need to focus on this more to really understand how this works. But for agile coaches, basically this is the most important thing. You need to figure out how does this come into the transformation side, and I think this is key. All right, so let's do two models. The first is going to be a product oriented business model. The second one is going to be a service oriented. Okay, give me 5 set of possible business goals for each. I will choose one and we will go from there. All right, cool. 3. No, DORA metrics are not already measured, and the processes for software development / service delivery are crawling with manual steps, which can be improved. Ask me more about this so that you get the context for both models. Okay, hopefully it will give us some really good insight, but you'll see as it will produce bad stuff in the beginning, and then you iterate and you iterate and you iterate. So basically, the more agile you are about the prompting, the better it'll be for you, and the more control you have, and the higher the output. All right, do you want the conceptual model, coaching playbook, all 3? Just the conceptual model. All right, any other questions? So I just keep asking it if it has any other questions until it kind of stops. In the last prompts that I've done, it usually stops after the second round, or it stops even after the first round. Want you to not invent specifics, but to ask me about them. All right, cool. Let's see what this guy did. All right, core framework. OKRs define what business wants. DORA, whether delivery can keep up. Agile practices are levers to move DORA. One question: is this for a LinkedIn post, a client workshop, or your own coaching toolkit? It's a free piece of information I want to publish. Any other questions? All right, I don't. Create a very compelling model, but I don't want you to invent too much. Ask me questions about the context. So as it asks more questions, it puts you in a situation where you actually have to think about the models. So basically, if you can think about the model that your company is in and try to kind of figure out how these connections work, then you're going to have an easy time convincing people that, you know, being data driven, working iteratively is going to help the business. All right, increase retention, improve activation, grow recurrent revenue, cost to serve, reduce cost to serve, accelerate validated releases. All right, I'll pick the one that every business wants. So SaaS. So every business wants more revenue, right? As an Agile coach, if you can help your companies get more money in the door, then you're gonna be golden. So grow recurrent revenue. 3. Grow revenue. All right. Service goals: increase renewal rates, improve client outcomes, reduce delivery lead time. Okay. Service goals. So reduce time to yes for a financial institution. We're talking backend. Front office plus backend. All right. So usually in financial institutions, large banks, even loan companies, basically you'll have some sort of setup where you have the guys that are working the front office, they're getting the customers, and you have the back end that's processing documentation, trying to get people to validate whether they qualify or don't qualify for financial services. All right. Any other questions? Boom. What time to yield? I don't know what time to yield is. I was thinking of time to yes. So basically, as you can see, I'm learning about business as I talk to AI. This is actually the key aspect, and this is what I've been leveraging AI a lot lately. Like, if I have a topic, especially a business topic that I don't understand, the first thing that I'm doing, I'm talking to AI. I'm not asking stupid questions to people around me. I know that there's a movement in Agile that there are no stupid questions, but the truth is there are questions that are wasting everybody's time. If you are asking questions about the domain and you are the only person that doesn't understand that question, that doesn't understand that concept, and the rest of the people in a meeting understand that concept, then you're just wasting everybody's time. And if somebody takes 5-10 minutes to explain to you a concept that you could just ask AI, then you're losing everybody's time. So especially in today's world where people are focusing a lot on efficiency, I definitely recommend that if you have a question, the first thing that you do, you ask AI that question. So what is time to yield? I was thinking about time to yes, but maybe time to yield might be better. All right, cool. Which customer journey? Landing, onboarding, payments, claims. Do we do the financial services SaaS? No, we don't do the financial service. Just for diversity purposes. Let's say we have so the customer journey is going to be for a telecom subscription service. You can manage your cable and phone services, service packages via a digital app. It's going to have both mobile and web. All right, cool. So customer journey is going to be onboarding, upsell, and cross-sell for telecom services. So basically, we just have something like a cable company developing an app. All right, via acquisition, expansion, pricing, or retention. All right, this is interesting. So via acquisition, what does this mean? Revenue via acquisition. It means that we're basically marketing our service and we're telling people, hey, download the app, or hey, go to this website, create a subscription, and we will take care of you. Expansion means basically like referrals, get a friend to come and do it. Pricing means that we might increase the prices just to get more money. And retention, it basically we're looking at how can we increase the lifetime value of a customer. So this is abbreviated at LTV. So LTV means the customer's lifetime value, by giving him incentives or giving them incentives to stick more with our services. So basically, if you can, create bonus campaigns, if you can create an awesome customer experience, they will have no reason to actually drop. And telecom companies do this a lot. They, in the back end, they actually assess whether you are a happy customer or you're going to drop their services based on the quality of the network, the number of complaints. So they have some sort of profiling for customers. Actually, I know it can be scary, but businesses actually do this. All right, so let's say we're going to go acquisition. I think actually I'm not sure what it means by expansion. Let me ask it. What do you mean by expansion? I understand acquisition, and it's going to be my first choice. So apparently I'm actually more drawn to talking to ChatGPT, because this is Copilot, by the way. This is Microsoft Copilot, but it's using ChatGPT because it's actually communicating faster with me. So I have some questions here on Fable. All right, I understand it's going to be my first choice, but I want to know what you mean by expansion. Exactly, so that I know what to choose. All right, cool. Let's see. 4. Where are manual steps, approvals, queues, handoffs? They are right now in the front office. You can't create an account digitally. You have to physically is this the right way? I think it's the right word. Physically go to the the office to register for services, or you do it by phone, and then or you schedule an installation by phone. So I know the telecom services are actually doing this a lot, at least in my area. They are doing it a lot. So having a digital way to do it, like digital self-service, would be actually an improvement for these. Then they also have a lot of back office processing for booking installations, installation admin for equipment. So basically when somebody comes to your house and installs cable, they have to have some equipment with them, like a router, like a cable decoder, the wires, etc. So if you imagine the all that they have to do in the back, it's basically they have to have a depot where they go get the materials, they have to sign off the materials, etc. Equipment, depot management, equipment management and inventory, etc. Let's consider possible workflows for that are 20 to 25% digital but scattered. All right. What data exists today? We have data in the front office. They are manually inputting data into a CRM, and we have so CRM, for those that don't know what it is, it's a customer relationship management tool. So basically all companies have a CRM, and we have paper processes in the backend. The company is currently implementing an ERP, but it's been doing it for the past 2 years. So a lot of companies are actually implementing ERPs, so enterprise I forgot what ERP stands for. Let's Google it. What does ERP stand for? Enterprise resource planning. Yeah. So they have ERPs, enterprise resource planning tools, where they kind of have a lot of inventory and they process all the data on that inventory. A lot of that process is somewhat manual, so a lot of the data are sometimes are unreliable. They are not up to date. But let's say for this company, this is something that's going on right now, but it's not fully developed. All right. Any other questions? Okay, let's see what Fable asked. Audience priority, coaches, managers. Okay, coaches, agile coaches. Format, one visual model or a written breakdown. Both. Yes, it should connect to my enterprise levers. So Fable actually has more context because I've talked to it a lot in the past 2 months, so it should have some things here. Any other questions? I don't want you to invent contexts. Alright, cool. Let's see here. Alright, it's okay. Time to yes. Time for customer intent to approve subscription. So basically, it's when a customer starts to think, hey, I need a telecom, or expresses an intent, right? First reaches out to approve subscription tied to yield. Isn't a standard or a term. It could be meantime. Why would you suggest it then? It could be meantime until service activation or revenue realization. Define it explicitly. Expansion revenue, more revenue from existing customers through upgrades, add-ons, upsells, cross-sells. All right. Now let's go for time to yes. Although expansion revenue is actually really cool, because I think that most businesses, after they develop their first digital application, actually go a lot into expansion revenue. So when I worked as a developer, we had all of these really interesting cable packages that you could sell to your customers, and some of them would give them discount. This would be in order to improve churn. Some of them would actually be a bump and an upgrade. It was really interesting to see how you can develop those subscriptions in order to get more money, but also get more customer satisfaction. I'm really tempted about expansion revenue, but let's say we're just building the app, so let's go for time to yes now. Questions. Is success approval, installation, or activation? Acquisition only, or acquisition plus expansion? God, I'm so tempted by this. Time to yes. Let's do acquisition to first invoice and payment. We'll do expansion a bit later. All right, cool. I'm so tempted to go for expansion. Oh, I'm like, oof, it would be so much, so rewarding. All right, 2 final questions. Casual diet. Do you want the model to be flow top-down levers, OKRs, DORA practices, or bottom-up? Coaches start from practices and trace the value upward. This is an interesting question. The reason why it's interesting is because it's never either top down or bottom up, because it's like business has these huge financial goals, and you see the mess that's going on in practice, and you're like, all right, how do I justify that people are going to spend time on automated testing, that people are going to spend time on pair programming, that people are going to spend time on writing good user stories and acceptance criteria, right? Because they're going to say, no, these activities take time and we don't have time because business wants these goals, and they press us, they stress us into delivering faster, but we're just not able to deliver once in 6 months. And they want us to deliver faster and faster, right? So there's usually a huge disconnect between what the guys upstairs want and what the guys downstairs are actually able to deliver, especially if the teams are in a waterfall mindset. So in a lot of companies, like unless you are a top shiny startup like Anthropic and you can afford to pay $500,000 a year for a developer, yeah, you're probably going to encounter some sort of a waterfall agile hybrid, because delivering waterfall in iterations is a trend, and I don't know when or if it's going to stop. Partly this is the reason why I'm doing these live discussions. All right, so I want it to be realistic for an agile coach. So the business will probably have top level targets, not OKRs. All right, they usually have targets like, I want to increase the cycle or decrease the cycle time for this process. I want to increase revenue for this. I want to digitalize this. Right? They have these goals. They all lead to lagging indicators like profit, but they don't tell you the full story because they usually don't have time. So this is where your mastery as an agile coach will come into place. All right, and they see the mess that's going on in IT delivery. People are usually pressed for time, and they most of the times deliver waterfall in iterations. What do I mean by this? And this projects span for 6 months plus. Sometimes they can take more than a year. So one of the teams that I'm working with actually does this, and it drives me crazy, and unfortunately I don't have enough time to spend with them. But basically, actually 2 of my teams are doing this. They are creating these huge projects, and they work with them. They do the sprints, but they never release to production, and it's like, drives me crazy. But I'm slowly converting the ADLs, which is Agile Delivery Leads. They are slowly starting to see a different perspective, and hopefully the pain of them not releasing, which they are feeling, is going to change their minds. All right, any claims of limits, citing DORA research correlations or any logic-based reasoning? Not sure what you mean. Nothing comes to mind yet. But please expand. All right, so basically this is going to be something that it'll tell me. Takes a lot. Okay, I need to close this. All right, so questions. Does yes required credit eligibility checks? Nope, it's just cable company billing. So credit card / debit card that works should suffice. All right, cool. Installation requires before invoicing? Nope, we invoice first, then we install. We can, so right now the process is you schedule. So as you can see, this guy is actually asking me much better questions, and the model will be much better because it's getting all the context. You schedule an installation, someone shows up, usually two guys, two people, they do the installation between 2 and 3 hours. So that's usually how long it takes. Sometimes it was just an hour, but usually it's 2-3 hours. They have some preparation, they do some stuff, and then they check whether things work. Then they charge you physical money and write you an invoice. So usually people have POSs now, or POS if the customer asks to pay by card. All right, cool. The new process, you go to a website or install an app. You load your ID and fill in your address. You register your card. You schedule the installation. Your build 24 hours, no, 48 hours before the your build 48 hours before the installation, right? So basically this would be the new business process. Your build 48 hours before the installation, just to make sure that you have the money, right? So basically sometimes these guys are showing up but people don't have the money, etc., and it's a whole thing. And your invoice shows up in your account. You also have access to your current selected package. All right, cool. So this is basically the new process 3. So new payment method, card. We don't need to be fancy right now. It's probably asking me about using PayPal, Google Pay, and Apple Pay and stuff like that. Where do customers abandon? Where do customers abandon? This is a good question. They are not at the location when the guys that do the installation come. Installation times are rescheduled, but the customer is not notified. The current company is reselling them and doing retention actions. I would say this would be it. You can also give me some indications. All right. 5. Should the SaaS revenue grow, use the same telecom journey? Yes, we're building the same thing for both parts of the business. Front end acquisition plus back end processes improvements. All right, cool. Any other questions? So as you can see, I'm just always asking it to. All right, on claims, DORA research accelerate shows elite delivery performance correlates with organizational performance. Really cite one. What I won't do, embed numbers like teams improve 40%. Questions. May I cite the DORA accelerate research? Sure. Please cite it. All right. Yeah, that's usually why agile coaches are needed. All right, let's see this one. I'm actually much more inclined to use GPT-6. Key abandonment risks, identify upload friction, cart failure, unclear installation slots, missed visits, rescheduling without notification, competitor switching, and poor recovery. All right, I don't know what poor recovery means. What do you mean by poor recovery? So basically, if you don't understand something, just ask it. Just ask it and make sure that you really understand what's going on. Does time to yes and that successful payment? Yes. 2. Is installation capacity internal or subcontracted? 40-60. So mostly internal, but it can go to 60% subcontracted if in peak periods. I actually don't know when or whether we have peak periods in telecom businesses. So in most of the times in telecom, you may actually have peak periods, especially for events like the World Championship. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. Okay, can customers schedule digitally? Yes. 4. What systems support CRM scheduling billing? What do you mean? CRM is a system. Scheduling, billing, inventory, and notifications are done manually at the moment. Any other questions? All right, cool. Let's see what this says. Here's the model. Written breakdown first. All right, so this one actually gives me the model very, very fast. Okay, line of sight model. The Agile Coach's job: build a visible causal chain where none exists today. All right, cool. Business sets up top-level targets. IT deliver waterfall in iterations, 6-12 months projects. Nobody can trace how the team behavior affects business results. That gap is why coaches exist. All right. Okay, fair premise. Agile practices, small batches, CI/CD, whip limits, trunk-based development. These are levers, not rituals. All right. DORA metrics, deployment frequency, lead time, change failure rate, time to restore. The only measurable bridge between team behavior and delivery capability. Dora's research Accelerate shows elite delivery performance correlate with stronger organizational performance. All right, but I'm looking for causality. So I'm looking for chain of causality. Okay, I want us to create a model for showing people that if we have good delivery capability, we are going to have better top line and better bottom line revenue results. All right, cool. 3 OKRs. Translate vague top-level targets into quarterly measurable outcomes. Most organizations don't have real OKRs yet. The coach helps build them from existing targets. Enterprise levers, revenue growth, efficiency, predictability, availability. Every conversation with the executives lands there. Somewhat, to some extent. All right, how the coach uses it. 1 chain, 3 languages. Teams. This practice moves this DORA metric. Okay, practices get a Y. Managers. These DORA trends predict whether your commitments are realistic. Oof. Predictability becomes visible. All right, it's making a mistake. So basically, DORA metrics are not only about predictability, they're also about improving performance. Your 12-month projects means 12-month feedback loops. Here's what costs in adaptability. This is too vague. Revenue efficiency, okay. OKRs, top-level targets, made measurable, speed, agile practices. 1 honest caveat for the published speed. The chain is scheduled coordination. DORA research supports the link. It doesn't guarantee it. Saying it openly builds credibility. Want me to draft LinkedIn post now? So I want us to build a model and an example of how agile practices move DORA metrics and OKRs. I've told you before. So basically, you're just going to work with AI. You can have 2-3 hour sessions, and you're just going to give it like info, context, and try to build visual information with it. The more questions it asks, the better you your own will have knowledge and grip on what you're doing. Okay, pre-recovery means failure isn't resolved smoothly. Car declines. Okay, understood. CRM is digital, schedule, not manual. Who approves subscriptions? The front office worker. When is inventory reserved? When request is approved by the installations team lead. What happens after a payment failure? The customer gets a notification. The installation is postponed if payment is not done in 24 hours of failure. The customer is notified that this is going to happen. Alright, cool. Any other questions? I've made it harder for myself by working with two AIs. I have to admit. Want me to no. Next. Let's go. Alright, can CRM capture timestamps? Yes. What causes pre-installation team approval delays? This is a good question. What causes approval delays? They run late on installations. Team lead is a bottleneck for scheduling, and peak installation times like football season start are making installations harder. All right, our privacy, identity and contract requirements mandatory. Oof. Not for the MVP, but they will become mandatory when we scale the digital solution to all our customers. All right, which software team builds front end and back office capabilities? Internal IT. 5. Can we treat DORA metrics as delivery systems health indicators, not business success measures? Yes, they are health indicators, but they influence business success. If they are bad, then we will not iterate fast enough for the business to get data to make better decisions. And adapt to customer needs. All right, any other questions? Let's see what Fable does. Industry for the work example: banking, insurance, style, enterprise IT. Fits your Romanian audience or generic? Let's do banking. Let's do banking actually. 2. Which lever should the example hit? Top line faster feature revenue, or bottom line fewer failures cost? One example per. All right, 3. Fictional but realistic numbers, clearly labeled, acceptable. True. Wait. I didn't give it the magic command. Ask me any other questions. Boom. All right, cool. No further questions. We have enough content. Business goal revenue reduce time to yes. OKR measure customer revenue outcomes, enable rapid experiments, workflow improvement. DORA metrics show whether IT. All right. Go to work. Okay, starting state. Should both examples begin with your realistic mass? Yep. Currency euros. Dollars. Everybody understands dollars. All right. What's this doing? Sure, I was expecting a full model with metrics, both leading and lagging indicators. What did it give me? Plus how agile practices are influencing them on a month by month view for 18 months. One final question. Should examples name specific practices, trunk-based development, automated regression testing, WIP limits with mechanism? Yes. Maybe Fable is better. All right. What did this give me? Strategic connection, business goal, grow acquisition revenue, customer outcome, make digital subscriptions easier and reliable. Fine. Primary metric, time to yes, application started, first successful payment. All right. Operational continuation, payment installation, service activation, delivery capability. There are metrics. All right, cool. OKR structure objective, create a reliable. Targets must be established after measuring baseline. No, that's not going to happen. We are going to have some baseline, but all right. Reduce median and it. Okay, give me concrete examples. So I want a tangible model with numbers. Operate. Let me actually see what it's saying. So new customer revenue, number of paid subscriptions. Okay, lagging business indicators, acquisition conversion rate, customer acquisition cost, installation completion rate, first month cancellation rate, competitive. These are actually good metric architecture. Okay, leading customer flow indicators, identity upload completion, address validation success, card registration, okay, payment success. Okay, these are actually good. Digital rescheduling success, appointment notification delivery, application abandonment step. All right, that's actually not bad. Operational indicators, approval queue time, scheduling queue time, indicate inventory reservation time, installation team utilization, missed appointments, rescheduled frequency, internal versus subcontractor. Okay, manual touches, DORA, deployment frequency, lead time for changes, change failure rate, DORA metrics. Okay, what's it saying? Establish baseline journey mapping, timestamp coverage, current conversion, deployment baseline. All right. Identify constraints, value stream mapping, queue, and handoff time, abandonment baseline, change lead time baseline. All right, estimate journey, definition of done equals telemetry refundable. Okay, this is too generic. Okay. So I want an actual example, not generic blob. The direction is okay. Whether the execution doesn't meet my standards. Ask me any questions. Alright, cool. Practice delivery or for behavior customer. Okay. So please provide monthly baselines. Application started. Just invent some baselines and targets. All right, let's see what this guy has. Okay, here are two casual chains. Both start from the same mess. Quarterly releases, 9-month projects, waterfall iterations. All numbers are illustrative. Label them. Okay, this guy is giving me numbers. So the mechanism, link by link. Practices, trunk-based development kills long-lived branches. Sure, integration pain disappears. Automated regression test. Okay, feature flag, decouple, deploy from release. Sure, but what does this mean for cycle time? For software development, cycle time and lead time. All right, cool. DORA shift, deployment frequency, quarterly, weekly, lead time for changes, months to days. Okay, this is getting closer to what I want. I also would like you to put in some illustrative numbers on. It's fine to invent some things. Make sure you also do research on them. All right, cool. Benchmarks. All right, cool. 3. What that matters, the loan application funnel can now be experimented on. 12 UX hypothesis tested per quarter instead of one. Okay, cool. Grow our digital lending. Application completion rate 60 to 75%. All right. Lever revenue growth illustrative. 10,000 monthly applications. 15 PP completions. I could never understand what PP means. All right. Explain what 15 PP. It's percentage points or something like that means. Never really understood the concept. Okay. Which means, okay, basically I think it's 15%. 1,500 more completed applications, 40% approval, and 10% $10 average loan. This means 6 million a month new originations generating interest income. So basically this is banking language for those of you that haven't been in banking. So digital lending, this means lending money via digital channel, and basically this is what banks are kind of doing right now a lot. they are trying to increase the number of business they do via digital channels. And right now, for example, if you have 10,000 people that apply for a loan, and basically you get, like what they said is, out of these 10,000, 6,000 people are getting loans. No, right now 6,000 people are actually being approved, right? This is application completion rate. So we want so complete their application. We want out of these 10,000 to go to 7,500 people which have completed loan applications at a 40% approval rate at a $10,000 average loan. So this is a little bit of math that we need to do here. So actually I'll do it via Excel so that you guys can see it. It's actually interesting the way Fable is making things happen. Maybe I'll change my mind on Fable. So synthetic model, metric connections, step completion, digital. All right, we'll see what let's do Claude. All right, so basically you have this and if you want to speak the CFO's language, you have to be able to do some basic economic modeling. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to prove your point to them. Economic modeling is one of the key skills that I've actually learned. It was so one of my mentors actually told me when I was having my own company, they actually told me, yeah, but are you doing an Excel? And I never understood that. And then my second mentor actually asked me that also. And I actually fairly late in the game, I actually understood what the reasoning for this is, because when you see the numbers, you actually take different decisions. You make better decisions when the numbers are there and they are clear. All right, so let's say we have this key result. So right now we have number of applicants monthly is 10K. All right. So it's better for you either to ask it to give you this financial model, or to do it yourself. Either way, just think of it as learning. You're basically learning to develop business cases. That's actually what you're doing here. In real life, you're not going to do these business cases with people, or at least from what I've experimented, people are not that happy when you give them complicated business cases. But the more you do these business cases, the better you can actually explain to them what's the impact of what you're going to do. All right, so number of applicants, then you have application completion rate. So we have 60% now, we have 75%, which is the target, right? So basically this model assumes current and target. So this model assumes that we're not getting new customers, but what we are doing, we're making the current process more efficient. All right, then you have lever, revenue growth. Okay. So So completion applications completed. So basically this is how many applications loan applications are completed. So it's this times this. All right. There we go. And average loan value. So basically the average loan value is $10,000. Same for both. And we have approval rate 40% in both cases. Fine. Okay, so it's going to be revenue generated. Actually, origination. So origination value. So origination means, okay, how much, what is the volume of the loans that that I'm giving out right now. So this again, these are very banky terms, right? But basically this is what it means. Okay, so we have this origination value. Let's see actually what it said. So trunk-based development, DORA shifting, OKRs, loan completion, revenue growth, agile practices, small batches, DORA shift, change failures from 25% to 8%, incident downtime, down efficiency, 1.2 million saved, illustrative. This is actually much easier to prove, but I would definitely be interested to see how this one gets approved. Evidence anchor for both. So explain what 15 pp is. I never really understood the concept, and I want also leading indicators in the example. All right, cool. So basically, let's see, origination value equals number of applications times the loan value times approval percentage. So this is, how much is this? 24 million. And if I have the same, it's going to be 30 million. So the difference, as Claude said, right, is going to be this one minus this one. So it's going to be 6 million origination value difference. So in banking terms, because you have to get this back to how this means, this basically means month-on-month cash flow is actually increasing because the rate of loans is actually going to be better. Of course, again, this is the, let's say, the target. This is how the bank is seeing it, but the problem with this is it makes bets. So the bank will say, I'm going to do this new workflow, lending workflow, that's going to do this. And this lending workflow is actually going to come in a year later than expected. So basically they are going to be in big trouble because the lending flow doesn't really work as expected. It comes in late, etc. Let me put the DORA benchmark, cycle time, code commit, blah blah blah. All right, so real benchmarks, elite teams, deploy on demand, lead time under a day, change failure rate, recover on a high. Lead time 1 day to 1 week. Daily deploys. 20% failure rate, recovery within a day. Elite versus low performance, 125 faster, 100. Okay, sobering. The high tier shrank from 31% to 22%. The low tier grew from 27. Middle is slipping down, not up. Great tension for your content. Interesting. So I've been using Claude to actually get ideas on content and try to figure out what to or how to better express the things that I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. Okay, what is 50%? Percentage points, simplistic arithmetic. All right, so it's it's percentages. Chain 1 updated. All right, let's see practice adoption. Number of changes via trunk plus automated tests. Before the mess, it's 10%. After 90%. Type leading indicator. Lead time commit period. Okay, to 3 days. Quarterly. Okay. Lead time experiment. Sure. Sure. But I want 2 scenarios. Let's say business has the same goal, but IT either does waterfall or does agile with high DORA completion. What are the chances that business will actually hit their goals? Because basically when you're trying to predict the future, there are 3 things that you have to take into consideration. The first one is that you're actually working with hypothesis. So basically everything that you do or say might not happen in the future. So it's a hypothesis. The second thing that you need to understand is that the future is not black and white. It's usually more of a mix of hybrids. And the third thing is you want to understand the hybrids in percentages or let's say chances of completion. So that's basic economic modeling. You want to usually generate 3 scenarios and to understand what happens if business chooses this or what happens if IT chooses this. I want you to develop 3 models. 3 models with percentages of likelihood of achieving the target. Ask me any questions. Okay, let's see what this guy does. So, acquisition model, baseline telemetry, applications, conversion. Okay, I think this one really did deployments per month first. All right, cool. So generate an Excel. Can you also do a 3-piece scenario? Do a 3-scenario model based on how the team will be able to achieve business targets depending on the delivery model. So waterfall, hybrid, agile plus waterfall, or agile. Also, okay. All right, interesting. I'm also learning, like I'm learning a lot by just doing these mental exercises with AI, because it's actually better than, in my opinion, it's better than any book that you might read. Of course, books are great. Don't get me don't get me wrong, but working on your own stuff and doing active learning and kind of sparring and doing scenarios, this is actually going to help you much more than reading theoretical generic books. Ask me any questions. I want to connect Dora metrics with OKRs and help Agile coaches demonstrate the impact of implementing Agile practices. All right, let's see what it does. Let's see what this guy did. Okay, 3 models. Do you mean 3 modeling approaches estimating? Yes. Yes, define hit the goal, the OKR completion rate within 2 months. Yes, define the full OKR. Okay, so what it did, it gave me a key result, and it's now confusing the OKR, which is objective and key results, with the key result. You are confusing. So that's why, even though Fable, they say it's the greatest, blah blah blah, it's making mistakes. Okay, so it's not infallible. And again, I'm not against AI. I've been using it. It's been a huge leverage for myself. But yeah, professionals actually understand the small problems that it generates. You are confusing a key result with the OKR. All right. Grounding. May I anchor real research accelerates finding performance? Sure. Use real research, but I guess you'll have to also invent some. I'm fine with it. All right, cool. Forgot. Jesus. Not that great. Not that great. Stop. Ask me any questions. All right, cool. Oh, this is actually generating stuff. Let's see what we're getting. We're getting closer. So it's been almost 2 hours actually since I've been working on this. Success definition. OKRs in OKR practice, hit often means 70%. Okay, not 100%. Which standard should we use? Let's go with 100%. We're traditional bank, not Revolut. Or Salt. All right, let's see. Output single probability per scenario, per model, or range. Do a range. I don't know. I'm not confident with single probability models. Actually do a single probability. Let's ask me any questions. All right, let's see what this guy generated. Okay, help Agile coaches demonstrate whatever assumptions. Any day now. No assumptions. Oh, still loading. All right, let me download actually. It's taking a lot for some reason. All right, cool. Okay, it loaded. So average one, okay, baseline conversion 20%, M18 target conversion, month 18, basically this is month 18, target conversion 60%, baseline medium time to yes 72 hours, okay, M8, okay, 6 hours, cool. Baseline digital, as you can see, the money is going to come in, so usually it takes about 3 days for people to give the company money, and now it should take 6 hours. This would be interesting. 97 completion rate, deployment frequency 1 month, 12 per month, lead time changes from 30 to 3 days, baseline. All right, cool. Let's see scenario summary. So again, you're not going to use this for executives, directors, managers. Probably not. I mean, it would be great if you could do this. I did this actually earlier this year, and it didn't really work. It wasn't what the manager that I was working with expected. So yeah, maybe it's good for you to do these scenarios in order to understand how to do them and then see. All right, so applications. So with waterfall, how many deployments does it assume? First release month, okay, month 16. Okay, and it's getting $18,000 worth of revenue in waterfall. Medium time to yes 30, and cumulative revenue why does it have this such a high number? Oh, because it's assuming, okay, it's assuming that we're doing it according to the old process, I think. All right, cool. So number of applications, it can process more applications. Okay, let's see hybrid. It can process more applications, paid subscriptions, slowly increases the revenue. And what about Agile? Okay, it increases the revenue faster, conversion rates are better. Okay. All right, perfect. This is actually a really nice model, as you can see. So as you can see, invoice revenue, subscriptions by scenarios. So again, it's proving the point that I want to prove. I'm fairly convinced that Agile actually beats everything, but yeah. So as you can see, if I get a monthly revenue of 43 thousand, and against a monthly revenue of 18,000 per month, just by implementing agile practices, this would be great. But I want to understand the reasoning behind it. So lead time, change failure rate, cumulative revenue, outcome governance, customer facing, outcome trajectory. So basically deployments per month are increasing, lead time is decreasing. This is actually cool. This is very, very cool. So metric dictionary. All right. All right. And we can also do a model. I can actually update the model to also include AI development, which should further decrease lead time, and it should further increase the number of experiments basically that business can do over the course of 18 months actually. All right, let's see what Fable did. Calibration bias. Should the single probability link conservative defensively if challenged by LinkedIn or typical case? What research averages suggest? The research averages should be defensible. Okay, go for conservative. So what's still not clear is why would revenue move so much in agile and hybrid? It's not clear what are the metrics that actually are influencing this. So I'm going to tell my friend ChatGPT. Okay, so it includes scenarios, editable assumptions, business OKRs, customer flow metrics, monthly. Okay, can I edit? Could I edit metrics in the Excel and see how they impact the business outcomes? Edit the blue cells in the assumptions sheet and workbook recalculates applications and conversion rates, paid subscriptions, time to yes, no completion. Okay, can you create a small image that shows how DORA metrics and agile practices influenced the OKRs? All right, let's see in the blue assumptions. Agile. Okay, I have some hidden columns. All right, so we have assumptions. Monthly application growth. Average monthly price, baseline conversion. Okay, so basically it just puts some assumptions here. if I change the assumptions, but what if I baseline deployment frequency? Okay, here I'm 100% sure Agile. Let's see. What if it does 36 deployments per month? I'm just curious. It doesn't change the lead time. It should change the lead time actually. If I do 36 deployments. Yeah, if I do this many deployments, the deployment frequency is definitely not 3 days. It just has better numbers. All right, let's see what it developed. Open. All right, so what does it say? Agile practices, cross-functional teams, iterative, continuous integration, automated testing, Kanban, WIP limits. All right, more frequent, smaller releases, shorter lead time for changes, higher change reliability, faster recovery from failures, more experiments and learning. DORA metrics, deployment frequency, lead time changes, change failure rate, failure, deployment lead time. Faster flow to production, reduce manual handoffs, improve system reliability, stability, faster feedback from real customers, better ability to respond to demand, customer process outcomes, leading indicators, higher funnel step completion, higher payment success rate, fewer abandoned applications, shorter time to yes, fewer reschedules and misses, higher digital completion rate, low cost to acquire, objective, grow acquisition revenue by making it easier and faster for customers to become paid subscribers. Okay, increase paid subscriptions, all right, this is actually pretty cool. Increase application to payment, reduce time to yes, increase digital acquisition rate, reduce cost to acquire. So the outcomes, insights, feedback into the next cycle, and experiments and improvements. All right, the chain of impact. Agile practices enable collaboration, improve DORA metrics, delivery becomes faster, safer, more predictable, better operational outcomes, flow improves, rework drops, feedback loop shortens, quality increases, better customer process outcomes, customer convert faster, friction reduces, experience improves, better business outcomes, more paid customers. Correlation is not causation. Use experiments, cohort analysis, and continuous measurement to validate the impact. Yes, I agree. So how DORA metrics and agile practices influence OKRs? Data flows from delivery capability, operational outcomes to business outcomes. Yeah, actually that's kind of it. So basically, if you're using Agile, you should be able to enable your business to deliver more experiments. More experiments means more data-driven decisions instead of hypotheses that are untested, and the more data-driven decisions you are doing, the better your business outcomes will be. It's actually very, very true. I just wanted to model this with numbers. I think I'll pause for now, but I'll just create a better model using these AIs. As you can see, it takes a lot of time to work with them, and it takes time to kind of figure out. Of course, let's not be ungrateful. I mean, the work that I'm doing now in 2 hours, previously it would have taken 2-3 weeks to develop. I mean, it might as well just take a few weeks to develop right now with AI, but you know, it's much better. So model 1 base rates, waterfall 5%, agile plus high DORA 20%, shots on the goal, waterfall 6%, 30% with Dora, chained KRs 4%, 28%. The punchline for your piece, it's honest one. The independent model coverage. Waterfall gives you roughly 1 to 20% chance. High delivery capability gives you roughly 1 in 4. Agile doesn't guarantee the OKRs. Nothing does at the 100% bar, but it makes you 5 times more likely to hit it. That's 5x, not certainty. Framing is exactly what makes skeptical executives trust the rest. Publish safety note. Standish base rates are citable. Per experiment 20%, per KR 65% are illustrative assumptions. It's obsessing about LinkedIn because I've been using it to develop LinkedIn posts, that's why. But it's very, very obsessed. So I like this model. What I don't like about it is I want to create some sort of model that would show me practice roadmap. Agile items need observable outcomes. Yeah, but it's not. So if you ask me from this list, I would just take 2 or 3 practices that are actually enabling people to do much more, much better, and I would implement them as fast as possible. Focus on problems first. So for example, one of the key aspects that I'm always looking at is automated testing and automated deployment. Like if you don't have automated deployment plus automated testing, you just dividing your work in iterations doesn't help that much, or in sprints, whatever you're using. Yeah, so I like this one. I like how it looks. What I would do is I would actually improve it. In the next session, I would like to actually improve this one. So start with this, but I would like to have more actionable stuff for an Agile coach to measure and look at, so that they would know what to influence and what would be the things that they would try to kind of push and change direction on in a software development company. Again, I liked the session with ChatGPT more. I have to admit, I did focus a lot more on ChatGPT because it asked me more questions, better questions. The flow chart that this actually is really, really awesome. I like it a lot. I've never had like an illustrative poster done so well, and yeah, I would definitely like to see something with numbers. Something with numbers would be more interesting, but I do agree with what Fable said. Basically what you're doing is you're building the future constantly, right? That's how great entrepreneurs think. about life in general. So what I'm doing today is I'm building the future. How am I building the future? What am I building towards? So basically everything boils down to behavior. This is something that I heard from Alex Hormozy, and actually is very, very true. So everything boils down to the way I am able to behave, because the way I behave drives the outcomes that I have. So when you are adopting a waterfall based mindset, the behavior is this: I think that I'm right, and I'm betting my whole company that I'm right, or I'm betting a business process that I'm right. And because you're doing these big bets, and the probability of it being right is actually 33%. Microsoft ran an experiment, I think 2012, 2016, where they figured out that 1 out of 3 features has positive impact. So basically it does what it's supposed to do. 1 out of 3 has neutral impact. So basically it doesn't affect the process at all. And 1 out of 3 has negative impact, which means that not only that you've been working hard to not influence at all, but you're actually having a negative impact on the way things go. So you're having a negative impact on sales, you're having a negative impact on customer satisfaction, you're having a negative impact on cost efficiency when you're delivering these big bang approaches to software delivery. The reason why Agile gives you better chances, and I have to understand what these models actually, can you better explain? What do they actually mean? So don't be afraid to ask AI anything. All right, but basically what Agile does is it enables you to improve your thinking as you go along, because you get more and more data and you understand a lot of what not to do. So a lot of process improvement is basically this. Um, I did a lot of activity. I am looking at my overall activity. I'm looking at what worked, I'm looking at what didn't work, and I'll try to do more of what worked and try to do less of what worked. This is basic activity improvement. All right, so when you are looking at the data, when you are looking at the successful customer closing activities, the unsuccessful customer closing activities, etc., especially with digital development, which means when you're looking at your customer success rates, you can actually see when the customer dropped off, how long did it take, what were the steps that they where they abandoned the process, etc. Also, it's the same thing with your back office processes. Like you can look at when did people do mistakes, what types of mistakes did they have, where is the missing data, etc. And the most important thing is to think of your systems more or less as self-service systems and self-fulfillment systems. The more you can go into self-service and self-fulfillment, the better your application lifecycle will be. All right, I think this is kind of it. I think next time Manny will join us also, and I would definitely like to continue this thing. This is actually very cool for me. What we did today. And kind of also talk about AI, but where do you embed AI in your processes so that they they can so that AI can actually improve the processes within your company. So one thing that people mistake about AI is you can embed AI everywhere. That's not the point, and that's not how you should be thinking about AI, especially in complex business practices. Of course, you have small companies like Anthropic that are doing some great things, and I'm not saying they're not doing great things. I saw an Anthropic demo. I think 2 months ago. It was amazing. I have to tell you, it was amazing. It was really interesting. But again, the challenge is, how do you get a business that does things in a certain way for such a long time? How do you get it to constantly update the way they're working, and especially without flipping it on its head, without making it break its neck, because that's the key. Upgrade it without burying it. All right, base rates. What happened to everyone else who tried this? So you ignore your specific situation entirely and just ask, of all the thousands of similar projects ever intended, what fraction succeeded? What's the standard data? Waterfall projects hit their targets 7 to 13% of the time. Agile hits their targets 27 to 42% of the time. So basically, it's not that Agile hits the target always, it's that the target rate is actually much better. Then I discounted both because standard still counts delivered on time and budget, and your bar is harder, the business result. All right, so I think this needs a little bit of explanation. When Agile first started, it started more as a combination of project management practices. So one of the most famous Agile frameworks is actually Agile Project Management, which is DSDM. So it was used to be it used to be called Dynamic Systems Development Method. So basically, Dynamic Systems Development Method had this deliver on time and budget as a success criteria, right? The bar that I have, and Waterfall managed to achieve this 7 to 13% of the time. Agile projects managed to achieve this 27 to 42% of the time. This is a huge increase, but delivering a project on time and budget doesn't necessarily mean that you hit the business result that the project was actually intended to achieve. So it's the same logic as the insurance company pricing your policy. They don't care about your story, they only care about the statistics of people like you. All right, so this is the most defensible model, that you have waterfall 5% of the time. Okay, so it discounted it. So if you have 7 to 13% of the time actually being on time and on budget, hitting the goal is actually 5%. All right, and Agile, it discounted Agile, huge discounts. Okay, I discounted because standards. Okay, in the same logic, an insurance company. Okay, this is the most defensible model because it's based on real historical data, not reasoning. Okay, shots on goal. How many times you get to try? Okay, shots on goal, 6%, 30%. What does this mean? Nobody knows in advance which change will move the completion rate. All right, improvement is a search, and most of the attempts misses. Yes, so you have the famous Edison quote that says, I didn't fail 1,000 times to build the light bulb, I just know 1,000 ways how not to do it. So basically this is the same thing. When you're trying to build a business, and when you're trying to not only build a business but improve a business, you have to let go of your ego and you have to become hypothesis driven. So what does being hypothesis driven mean? It means that you look at the data, you adapt according to the data, and then you do more of what the data says you should be doing, instead of the other approach, which is I have an opinion and let's implement that opinion and everybody shut up, and if that opinion doesn't materialize, then I'm just gonna lie my way through it, right? Business people being business people. That's why actually businesses sink, because they are not able to make the transition from a old school plan your way into doing things type of business to modern data and hypothesis driven decision making business. Okay, so nobody knows. Most attempts miss. All right, assume any single changes has a 20% of working. So the question becomes, how many attempts do you get in 12 months? Waterfall releasing quarterly has 2 real shots. A team deploying weekly gets 40. It's a striker that gets 2 shots versus 40 shots. Same skill, wildly different chance of scoring. This model that makes DORA metrics matter to the business people. Deployment frequency isn't an IT vanity metric, it's your number of shots. Yeah, so actually deployment frequency is an interesting one, because you can measure deployment frequency on business features and you can measure the deployment frequency on components. And both are interesting from different perspectives, but it's clear that Fable here has the assumption that deployment frequency is going to be on business features. You assume it's on business features, not components, right? All right, so basically this is what nobody talks about in Agile, or maybe not a lot of people talk about in Agile. What Agile means is not Scrum. So this is fundamental for everybody to get. If you are not able to deploy to production multiple times per quarter, or multiple times during a 2-month period, or at least once every 2 months, if you're not able to do that, then you'll get significantly less chances of testing something in real life. The problem with people is that they are afraid of testing something in real life because they usually have big negative experiences associated with releasing in real life. There's a lot of pain with releasing, especially for a lot of companies. And this is why in Agile we have the saying of make releasing a non-event, and decoupling deployment from release. So these are a few concepts which are really, really important for us to get, because they make the release process easier and safer, and people stop thinking about it when you make it a non-event. All right. So the model basically means that deployment frequency is not a vanity metric. All right, change KRs. You must win 3 coin flips, not 1. So the OKR has 3 key results, and you need all 3 at 100%. Probabilities multiply. If each key result alone has 30% chance, waterfall, then hitting all 3 is roughly 3 to 4%. Has 30% chance. I don't get it. So model 3. What do you mean by 30% chance in waterfall? It was 5%. Hitting all 3 is roughly 3 to 4%. This is why full OKR fails so often when individual key results look achievable. the end is brutal. I adjusted the result up slightly because key results are correlated. The same platform improvements push all three, so they're not fully independent coin flips. Why three models instead of one? Any single model can be argued with, but when an outside data model as a learning speed model and probability math model land in the same range, 4 to 6% versus 20 to 30%, the conclusion stops depending on any one assumption. That convergence is the argument. Want me to compress the explanation in public? Interesting. This is definitely interesting. All right, correct catch. A shot, customer facing chance, release measured against the funnel, not the component deploy. A bank can deploy microservices 50% time and take 0 shots. So the honest change is deployment efficiency is the enabler. The real indicator is validated experiments. Sure. There are two ways of measuring deployment frequency. So this is the problem with AI. Like it kind of gets scared when you ask it questions. We deploy daily but nothing changed. Objection. Sure, measuring deployment frequency can be done at component or feature level. Basically, we're making the assumption of feature for deployment frequency for model 2. This is not wrong, but it's good to be specified. Whatever. Yeah, so this is the problem with AI. Basically, it's the honest chain is deployment frequency is the enabler, the real indicator is validated experiments. Stupid. Okay, when you publish count shots, not deploys, it protects you from we deploy. All right, fine. Two different levels, no contradiction. 30% chance hitting one individual KR, 4-5 of hitting all three at once. All right. So basically, it calculated the math, nudged up to 4%. Okay. 30% never appeared before models 1 and 2 skipped per KR level entirely. That's actually the teaching point. Waterfall teams often feel each target is reachable. 30% isn't bad, while the combined goal is nearly hopeless. Multiplication is the invisible intuition. Okay, so basically the model that it used is a little bit. It's way off from what I wanted it to do. So I wanted something that's actually closer to this, to what this produced, and it's actually much closer to this. So basically, if it can give me some sort of map like this, and I can change the numbers, and we would see how changing the numbers here would actually have an impact on the chances of hitting business objectives here. This would be interesting. And also, if I would introduce AI agents, this would also be very, very interesting. So that's the point. All right, but nevertheless, it did something that was very smart. It was way off what I was thinking. It did give me some data, which is interesting. I never knew the standard data plus the correlations that it did are pretty interesting, and it gives me some things to think about, because one of the wrong assumptions that I've had about Agile is that you hit your targets with Agile, which is actually something that I found is not true. You don't necessarily hit your targets with Agile either. It's more of a being very good at your business and being very good at your business model, and I don't know how much that factors in actually in your business. Let's see what this says, and then we'll finish it. I don't know, I started at consumption at about 27%. It used, I don't know, almost 40%. No, yeah, almost 40%. So it's not that bad. I exchanged a few messages. Agreed what an explicit assumption. Something like Model 2 assumes deployment frequency measured at feature level customer facing changes that can be validated, not component level deploys. A team shipping infrastructure daily, but features quarterly takes quarterly shots. Alright. Strictly DORA counts any production deploy, component level. Your model deliberately uses stricter feature level reading because only those are shots on the goal. Naming the choice preempts the pedants and actually sharpens the argument. Alright, so basically, yeah, what I'll do in future sessions are actually try to improve this model, because I like this model a lot, and I'll try to improve it so that you guys can also have some sort of a play toy that can actually show you why you would choose Agile over Waterfall or Agile over Hybrid. Like, if you guys could enable Agile in a company, you would make such a huge impact. And this is actually the crucial thing in the age of AI. What you want to do is you want to prove that you are worthy. And somebody said to me the other day that, you know, somehow nobody else needs to prove their worth but Agile coaches. I would say that everybody needs to prove their worth in today's market. And I would definitely encourage Agile coaches to start doing it, because nobody really understands what an Agile coach has to do. Nobody really understands what's their impact and what are the let's say the skills and the reasons why they are acting the way they're acting. And I guess to some extent that's mythology, but personally I found that it's much better to explain clearly to people what you are doing and why you're doing things and what's the impact that you expect to have, versus, you know, just saying I'm observing, I'm just trying to figure out how you guys work, etc. And I don't think that that type of reasoning works. I really don't. All right. That being said, thank you for watching. I hope that this was an interesting scenario that we've built together. I hope you kind of understand how to better use AI to get better data and to model the things that you are doing. These things that I'm trying to teach you guys conceptually, you'll have to teach to other people. That's actually the point. But not only that, the other thing is, from conceptual models, you'll have to execute on them weekly or daily. And that's actually the tougher challenge. It's not about understanding the model. Okay, it took me about 10 years to understand this model. It took me about 10 years. So I figured it out, I think in 2018. Um, yeah, in 2018, when I had to teach a course on SAFe, and I actually understood based on the SAFe map. Actually, I hated SAFe then, by the way. But based on the SAFe map, I actually understood how things trickle down from high-level target to a low-level agile practice. I understood it conceptually. In the years to come, so since 8 years ago, I slowly refined it, and now I'm at a place where I think I can finally understand how everything is impacted, and this is actually the key. The more we take the voodoo out of agile coaching, which is, the culture stuff, the being supported, the being enabled stuff, and the more we focus on tangible things like how do you produce results and take emotionality out of the picture, the better business results we will achieve. And that's the point. That's the reason why agile coaches get hired in the first place, right? So the point is, can we, as agile coaches, really contribute to these key results that these companies have? That's the first thing. And creating the key result system is one of the few steps that you guys have to do. But enabling and changing the system to enable everything on this map, I think that's the real challenge for an agile coach. And that's not a light challenge. That's a huge thing that you guys will need to implement for your companies if we want agile to be successful. Again, agile can die in the age of AI because AI has a lot of promise and it will take 20 years, but in 20 years AI will definitely have a huge impact on businesses. It will have a huge impact. Right now it's not having such an impact. We're living the dissolution phase of the marketing life cycle. Okay, in the past 2 years we had a build up and illusion and but now we're living we're hitting the real processes, and some companies are making it, some companies are not, and most of the companies are not. And basically what this means, it means that we'll need higher and higher skilled workers to actually handle AI, and I don't think most companies can afford higher skilled workers. Actually, that's my thing. So yeah, basically this is sort of a roadmap, and maybe it's good if in the following sessions we'll do some sort of a roadmap also. But basically this is the thing, and this is what you guys want to help companies understand and help companies implement. All right, cool. So thank you for watching.